Okay, so now we're looking down here at the old ratcheting seed meter drive, and the way these worked is you'd have the rotation from your electric clutch that came off your rear axle back here. There's a chain that came all the way up, ran both meters, and these were set on this sliding scale right here. And it basically changed the pitman arm and how long it was, kind of like a reverser on a steam locomotive. So as this turned, the longer that stroke is, the longer this back and forth movement is. Now you're thinking, well, how does that work? Does it like shake the seed out, or why is that important? Well, as it did this back and forth movement, inside this box, there's two more pitman arms that drive a dog clutch. And basically how that works is, well, like what's on a bike. As it moves in one direction, it tightens up and raunches on that, raunches on the drive shaft. Now when it moves the other direction, it loosens, so it can slip. Similar concept to a pipe wrench, how that works. Anyway, there's two of those in there, and as this moves forward and backward, it slowly turns that seed meter drive. And honestly, these carts were known for their precision because of that drive. What we're going to do, however, is we're going to delete this whole drive. Now I know what you're saying. Well, wait a minute, you just told me these carts are known for precision. Why are you taking out the heart and soul? Well, this was back before the hydraulic drives really took off. The hydraulic drives like we see, like what we just installed, have that kind of precision because of that little meter that we deleted off of our pump. It can count precisely how many degrees of rotation that that motor is turning. So we really don't need this type of drive for what we're doing. As simple as it would be to throw a sprocket on there, throw a motor on there, and away you go. Or rather, throw some chain on that sprocket and away you go. In my mind, I think what I'm going to do, take this off, see if we can strip these boxes down. Just because they already have our dimension here, they already have our dimension driving the meter. If we just strip those clutches out of there, strip this off, change out the bearings, put some kind of motor mount out here, I think we're going to be in good shape. So without further ado, let's go get some sockets and some ratchets. Start tearing into this. Alright, let's see what we can tear apart. Yeah. Well, that's one way. Alright, so we've got our assembly up here on the welding table, and we're going to attempt to tear this apart. Now, bear in mind, I have no idea what I am doing. I've never torn one of these apart in my life, so we're going to learn this whole mess together. know the general concept. There's a couple guys on YouTube that know what they're doing. They've torn these apart. They're very interesting on the inside, but again, I've never torn one apart. So, you know, can't be too complicated, right? Can't be. Okay, so that's for the most part completely free. Thing is very, the weight is not centered at all on that thing. You get that flexing in it, and it just goes wherever it wants to. Okay, so finally got into the metering box, and here you can see the operation of the stock setup, which this is that shaft that rocks back and forth. It drives these two little dog bearings in here, which then slowly turn the actual meter shaft. And all we really need out of this whole setup is just this shaft, well, really its location in reference to the two mounting holes up here. Then our hydraulic drive will come in and drive that shaft, which will in turn drive the meter, which is in this area. So well, now that we have the gutted seed roller transmission here, I guess that's what you'd call it, was a seed transmission. Took all of the bearings, all of those dogs, all of that good stuff out. Now I know all you flex coil owners out there are just cringing because of how expensive these are. That's true. That is true. First off, one of these was bad. The one at the rear, the one in the front that you saw me actually dismantling, that one was still good. Yeah, I probably could have sold it, but I looked at what the hydraulic drive mounts for these go for, that would mount back there, that would mount a hydraulic motor to it. I looked at what those go for and what I could get out of one of these, and quite simply it would be cheaper to just take one of those, well rather two of those John Deere hydraulic drive motors that I got from that online auction. I mean, I think I paid it wasn't even $1,000 for all 6 of those. It's ridiculous. Like, I didn't even know I was bidding on that many. Pretty sad, honestly. But everybody's going to the V drive. Am I saying it? Yeah, the V drives, the electric drive planters now. Who cares about hydraulic? So, but still, all those for the price of one, basically. It was ridiculous. Anyway, I'm gonna take 2 of those, save 2 for the planter, and then have 2 for spares. So there's a plus. We'll have commonality in our parts. We don't have to stock as much replacement parts. I just like the thought process, I guess. But here's the problem. There's no stock made mount to mount this style of motor and drive to that air cart. Yeah, I know I got more boxes. We'll get to that in a later video. But for right now, that's where this is going to come in. So, now I know what you're asking. Well, why did we worry about gutting one of these? You know, what's the point? Well, you're getting ahead of me. So this box, take the cover off right now. This box mounts on there like this, okay? This is the back of the cart, this is the front. This hole right here lines up perfectly with the meter that is right here. See where I'm going with this? Yeah? No? Maybe? Hold that thought. So that lines up right with that roller meter. If I put a bearing here and a bearing over here, now I got a nice little axle. Yes? No? Maybe? That little axle will have a little sprocket on the end. Come over here. Here will be our hydraulic motor. The little sprocket on the end. Boom! Got a nice little mount. Yeah, I'm gonna plug these holes so no little varmints get in there or dust. Keep it nice and clean. That's what we're gonna do here in a moment. The other thing is I gotta put a tensioner down here that the motor will mount on. Very similar to what we did on that second hydraulic motor that we mounted on our John Blue pump up there. So that's what we're gonna do down here, times 2. Now we've got a little basically hydraulic drive for these 2320s that I didn't have to go and buy, you know, from off the shelf for a couple thousand. I'm doing it for less than $100 a pop. And yeah, I sacrificed. Yeah, it is what it is. I honestly wish I could have sold this. But we won't go there. We won't think about that. All right, cool. You follow? Makes sense? Probably not. Oh well. Let's do it. Okay, so the first thing we want to do here, I made these little coupons. It's inch and a half. I think that's what these are, 1.5 inch wide pieces of steel that I just had laying around and sliced it into little 4-inch pieces. Yeah, 1.5 inch. And what I'm going to do on the inside, because on the outside that just looks tacky, right? I mean, we're going for the professional look. No, we're not. But we can try. And what we're going to do, we're going to throw these on the inside over those old bearing ports like that, and at least close them off. Yeah, you'll still see them. Yeah, you'll still see the scars of what was. But you know, it kind of tells a story. You know, years from now when I'm dead and gone, somebody will look back when this thing's sitting in a fence row and go, what was that idiot thinking? I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. But this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go get some 6013. The rest of this box is only probably an 1/8 inch thick. Is what the metal's made out of. So we don't want to blast through it. We just want to basically put a glorified tack on these. Okay, well, I had a couple of other things come up, but I thought I'd show you the end result. So it's ugly here on the inside. Not sure what all this, I think it's some kind of sealant that was burning off as we were welding there, but on the outside, it looks super nice, right? Wrong, I know. I know. I'm gonna paint these boxes black, just to camouflage them. But like I said, the reason I'm doing this is mainly because of this thing's location in relationship to the two mounting holes up here. So there's no crazy measurements I gotta take, engineering I gotta do. It's all right there, nice and ready to go. So with that, that's where I'm gonna leave it for this evening. Well, YouTube, we are back here over at the welding bench, mainly because that Ohio weather outside is still much too gloomy to be planting. And well, we're working on these hydraulic drive boxes slash brackets, whatever you want to call it. These were those old dog drives that came with the stock flex coil 2320s and John Deere 787s. And actually, I think the size smaller as well. Anyway, you can kind of see how this is going to fit together. This will be sitting on the cart like this. That's up. That direction's up. And that way's forward. And basically what's going to happen, we're going to have a shaft through here driving the actual meter, which we discussed in the last segment. Since then, I've welded on this piece. So anyway, this is where we're going to mount our hydraulic drive motor. Now this, just given how it's designed, when it's sitting on there like that, there's not quite enough lip right here to go and connect to this. Now, when you saw our setup over here, when we put one of these drive motors on the John Blue pump, that one came with this nice little bracket. And as you know, as things usually do, I did not have a bracket like that. I only got one of those with my hydraulic motors. So what I did is I cut up one of the mounts for one of the planer hydraulic drives right here. I just chopped out a corner, and then I took that over to the bandsaw, cut it down a little bit more, and I chalked it up in the, or chucked it up, whatever you want to say, in the vise of the milling machine. We're going to go ahead and drill a couple holes and make our own little mounting bracket. Okay, so here you can see where I torched out that corner of that John Deere bracket. It's made for those motors. And since we're wanting to do this professionally, we want to get rid of that, torch scar there. So that's what I'm doing here on the bandsaw. Basically just trimming it up, getting it into the proper size and fitting it so that it'll look nice once on the actual bracket itself. Well, YouTube, I don't know if I've gotten around to posting my soybean planting videos. As of right now, it'll be the 21st of May. I've got about 50 acres of soybeans planted, and that's it. And on one of those videos that I'm probably just going to combine into one, I had predicted that we would only get, maybe a ½ inch of rain or so. At least that's what they seem to be calling for. Well, so far we've gotten 1 inch of rain and it's not stopping. So back to our air cart project. And at first tonight, I was just gonna mess around out here in the shop for, I don't know, an hour or so here after work. Not really doing anything, wasn't planning on videoing, but I got this mocked up, our little hydraulic drive mount thing, whatever you want to call it, and I actually kind of impressed myself. So I thought I'd take you along for the ride. So far all I've done is I've just put in these bearings, which I got from Shoop, front and back, and now I'm just getting ready to mount it up. So when I had it up there without any bolts, it looked pretty nice. Let's see if this thing actually fits. Let's see if I can take you along for the ride or not. Now the question is, did I bring everything I needed over here? I don't think I did. That makes sense. Well, I thought I did. So yeah, this part's pretty simple. It's just a matter, I got that one started. Now that one just slid right on. Go figure. Go figure. And I didn't bring over. Gotta run back here with 2 nuts. That started. So that one's in, or started rather. We're gonna pull this one back out. Really the only reason I had run that in was, well, honestly, I got excited. Especially with how easy the rest of it had lined up. I just got excited. There we go. Now we gotta find that. Line everything back up. These holes are just big enough. So you gotta, well, they're just big enough without paint. So we got those started, so we can still, if we had to, wiggle that back and forth. We'll get our drive shaft measured up here. But kind of give you guys a look from the front here. That is what one of these completed boxes will look like. I mean, look at that paint job, man. Beautiful, beautiful paint job. Showroom quality right there. No. But anyway, once I know one of these is on and working, I'm gonna cut this off with the torch just so that we have enough room in this area for the second one. But first we'll make sure this all lines up, works like it should, and then we'll go from there. So next up, let's go get that drive shaft. I got some inch cold rolled steel for the stock that we're going to use, and cut that to length. Just kind of keep building from there. All right, so I got the shaft through the 2 bearings there. Had to loosen up those 2 bolts, get it that bearing centered. But once we did that, got it to slide freely between the 2, so that's a good sign. Now, oh, and one other thing, I marked, I don't know if you can see that or not, the spot where we need to drill our hole. No, I can't get it realigned. Anyway, the spot where we need to drill our hole for this coupler, and then that box over here will slide back to here. That'll be done, and then it can go back on our cart. So that's where we're at. Let's drill that hole and keep working. All right, so here is our little homemade motor mount for our hydraulic motor that we're going to use to run our variable rate fertilizer, and in this case, on this tank, our seed, our cover crop. So we've got our box all mounted up here. I've got my sprocket sorta in position. I gotta drill a hole in that yet, put a bolt through that so it's on our drive shaft. But for right now, let's just see if our motor, I don't know why it wouldn't fit, but oh yeah, fits on there kind of nice actually. I'm not going to tighten these nuts down quite yet. We want to just get everything sort of in the place so we can do a mock up here. And then ultimately tighten our chain, which is the whole reason this is mounted like it is. All right. She does not want to slide. There we go. All right, and then we'll worry about tightening that once we get our chain on there. So there we go. So let's take a look at it. That is where our motor is going to be. That's going to be the actual driven sprocket up here. It's actually going to turn in this direction, turning that meter roller counterclockwise. This little guy here, this counts the number of revolutions. So this thing sends out, I believe, yeah, 360 pulses per revolution. So 1 pulse per 1 degree. That goes up to the computer up there in the brain box that we installed earlier, and basically tells the computer how many times this roller has turned, and then it figures out how many pounds per acre are actually going on. There's a lot of things that are happening. Pretty crazy. Anyway, let's go ahead and get that drilled out. I do not have power out here in the shop right now. Like usually I have a lead cord run out here, but got power outage going on right now. So I'm gonna run the generator. Once you've seen one hole drilled, you've seen them all. So I'm going to drill out that hole right there. And get this all bolted onto the shaft so it's ready to go. Kind of show you in behind there. I don't know if I did that yet, but that's all stock flex coil bracketry. Really the only thing I'd made here is this drive shaft and this mount, but anyway, there it is.